Have you ever wondered what truly happens beyond the buzz and hangovers when alcohol crosses your lips and enters not just your bloodstream, but the very fabric of your soul? Imagine for a moment that you are part of an ancient lineage, journeying across centuries and civilizations, where fermented drinks were once treasured as keys to divine encounters. Now, consider the opposite. With each sip, your vibrant energy field flickers, spiritual safeguards weaken, and you drift further from your higher self. In this video, we'll pierce the veil of mystery and uncover how alcohol, once revered in sacred rites, can quietly erode your spiritual stability, yet also learn how to reclaim your inner harmony. Stick with me, and by the end, you won't just understand these hidden dynamics. You'll hold the tools to restore your energetic balance, nurture your spiritual core, and choose a path of true clarity.
Imagine traveling back thousands of years, stepping onto the fertile plains of ancient Sumer, where some of the world's first cities emerged under endless skies and the watchful gaze of gods. It was here that alcohol's story as a sacred substance first took root. You might find yourself in a dimly lit temple, the scent of incense dancing through the air, where priests and priestesses offered fermented brews to invisible deities. In these moments, alcohol wasn't simply a beverage, it was a vessel bridging the mortal world and the divine realm. The ancients believed that by consuming this sacred drink, they were communing with higher forces that shaped their destiny. It was as if, with each sip, a curtain between two worlds parted just enough to allow hints of cosmic wisdom to filter through. As the centuries passed, this reverence for alcohol traveled along the trade routes that crisscrossed deserts and seas. In ancient Egypt, the Golden Land nourished by the Nile, alcohol appeared not only in daily life but in funeral rites and royal ceremonies. Think of the Egyptians carefully brewing beer, offering it to the mighty gods and the souls of the dead, ensuring safe passage into the afterlife. Within these rituals, alcohol emerged as both a comfort and a key, unlocking doors to hidden spiritual dimensions and granting mortals a fleeting taste of eternal mysteries. The Greeks, too, wove alcohol into the fabric of their culture, especially through the cult of Dionysus. This wine god was no mere figure of legend. Dionysus represented the raw essence of life's ecstatic and chaotic energy. By participating in his rituals, drinking wine until the edges of consciousness blurred, the Greeks believed they could shed their earthly chains and glimpse the realm of the sublime. It was within that heady swirl of laughter, dance, and intoxication that the sacred and the profane collided, illuminating truths about human nature and existence. All these ancient civilizations, from Sumer to Greece, saw alcohol as more than just a substance that altered the mind. It held the promise of union with something greater, of tasting the nectar of the gods and discovering one's place within the grand cosmic order. This historical foundation is essential to understand because it lays the groundwork for how alcohol's meaning evolved over time. From these sacred beginnings sprang the complexities we now face. Once revered as a divine connector, alcohol would soon morph and reshape itself in the human story, sometimes revered, sometimes feared, and always capable of influencing our spiritual journey. If we trace the journey of this once revered substance through the corridors of language and cultural exchange, we find a startling clue hidden in the very word alcohol. Move forward in time from those ancient civilizations, drifting now into the realm of medieval alchemy, where scholars and mystics, often working in secret labs by candlelight, sought to understand the nature of matter and spirit. Their experiments were not merely scientific endeavors, but deeply spiritual quests aimed at transforming base elements into something pure, luminous, and divine. It's here, in the delicate fusion of science, mysticism, and language, that we discover the origins of the word alcohol. The term alcohol is said to stem from the Arabic word alcohol, originally referring to a fine, powdered substance, antimony sulfide, used as a cosmetic to darken the eyelids. This subtle linguistic root doesn't seem to have much in common with intoxicating beverages at first glance. But as alchemy traveled from the Arab world into Europe, the meaning of alcohol began to evolve. Alchemists experimented with distillation, condensing the spirits from substances, capturing the most subtle and volatile essences. In this process, alcohol came to denote what they considered the pure spirit extracted from matter. But there's another, more haunting layer to this word's history. Some traditions have passed down an interpretation of alcohol as a body-eating spirit, a subtle essence that erodes the flesh, slowly consuming the vitality of the physical form. Imagine the alchemist's furnace, glowing hot in the dark, as vapors swirl and condense into what they called the spirit of the material. This notion suggests that alcohol isn't just an inert compound, it's a presence that, when introduced into the human body, can devour one's life force from within. The old mystics, ever attuned to the interplay of energies and intentions, recognized that the subtlety of language reflects the subtlety of essence. The spirit they distilled was not purely angelic, it held a capacity for corrosion and destruction if misused. This linguistic and alchemical backdrop places alcohol in a striking light. It's no longer just a friendly social lubricant or a ceremonial connector to the gods of old. Instead, it emerges as a curious chemical spirit with the power to reshape consciousness, warp perceptions, and, in the metaphorical sense, consume the very vitality of the body and soul. By understanding the roots of this word, we begin to see that what we have inherited is not merely a beverage, but an influential force that, like so many spiritual agents, can either illuminate or devour, depending on how we choose to engage with it. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself as more than just flesh and bone. Envision a vibrant field of energy that surrounds you, what some traditions call the aura, a luminous tapestry of your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual essence. When you're at peace, when you feel aligned with your higher self, this aura glows bright and steady, acting like a shield that keeps you balanced, protected, and connected to realms of higher wisdom. Now, consider what happens when you ingest alcohol. It's not just your senses that become dulled or your mind that drifts. Your energetic field, too, begins to shift in subtle yet profound ways. As alcohol takes hold of your system, that once vibrant aura becomes unstable. Imagine a delicate web trembling under gusts of chaotic wind. The very fabric of your spiritual field begins to fray, leaving gaps where once there was integrity. In these gaps, energies you'd usually repel, negative influences, and stray spiritual currents may slip through. You might find yourself acting out of character, succumbing to impulses that later feel alien and troubling. It's as though the drink in your hand has not just loosened your inhibitions, but thinned the veil that keeps you centered in your spiritual truth. In this unsettled state, you risk weakening the connection to your higher self. Think about that higher self as a guiding star that orients you toward growth, wisdom, and love. When your aura is stable, that star shines clearly. But under alcohol's spell, clouds gather, dimming that guiding light. Without this spiritual compass, it's easy to become lost in your own lower impulses, those driven by fear, anger, jealousy, or doubt. Alcohol, therefore, becomes more than just a social lubricant. It can be a pathway to spiritual confusion, a subtle invitation for disruptive energies to enter your space. What's troubling is that many who regularly consume alcohol are unaware of this energetic erosion. They might be mystified by how their spiritual practices feel stagnant, why their meditations yield less clarity, or why they feel a lingering heaviness around them. Alcohol's destabilizing effects operate beneath the surface of everyday awareness, influencing your spiritual well-being in ways that aren't always obvious. And this extends beyond just one night of partying. Habitual drinking can lead to a cumulative energetic weakening, making it harder to access intuition, discern truth, and maintain emotional balance. Understanding these spiritual impacts isn't about casting moral judgment. Rather, it's about empowering you with insight. When you recognize the unseen consequences, you reclaim your ability to choose. Will you invite a substance into your life that compromises your energetic integrity and opens the door to spiritual interference? Or will you maintain the sanctuary of your aura, preserving the clarity, protection, and guidance that your higher self offers? Alcohol's influence is subtle but profound, reminding us that every choice we make, seen or unseen, shapes the landscape of our soul. Imagine for a moment that your body is like an ancient temple with 7 vibrant energy centers, known as chakras, each designed to maintain balance between your physical existence and your spiritual awakening. Picture them as spinning wheels of color and light that align along your spine, from your base to the crown of your head. When all these energy points operate in harmony, you feel grounded, open-hearted, insightful, and spiritually present. But what happens when alcohol enters the picture? Let's begin at the root, the base chakra near the tailbone. This energy center governs your sense of safety, stability, and connection to the material world. A balanced root chakra helps you feel secure, confident, and comfortable in your skin. Yet, alcohol often overstimulates this area. The effect is like pouring gasoline onto a steady flame. Suddenly, material cravings, physical urges, and a primal sense of being rooted in the earth intensify. While this might temporarily feel empowering or liberating, like dancing barefoot under a full moon, there is a cost. This overstimulation can push you into a realm where immediate gratification and lower impulses drown out subtle intuitions. Instead of feeling solid and stable, you may become fixated on quick emotional fixes, temptations, and indulgences that don't nourish your soul. Now shift your gaze upward, toward the crown chakra at the top of your head. This is your spiritual gateway, the point where you connect with higher truths, divine wisdom, and the vastness of universal consciousness. A balanced crown chakra allows you to perceive your life's greater meaning, to sense that you are part of something far more expansive than your personal story. But when alcohol flows through your system, the crown chakra's radiant link to the divine begins to dim. It's as though a thick fog drifts in, obscuring your view of the stars. Instead of feeling guided by higher principles, you may feel adrift, disconnected, and spiritually flat. This tug-of-war between an overstimulated root and a weakened crown disrupts the delicate balance required for true personal evolution. Instead of an elegant dance between heaven and earth, you find yourself stumbling, pulled down by material desires and cut off from the light of the cosmos. Over time, this disharmony can seep into every aspect of your life, making it harder to trust your intuition, recognize your life's purpose, or feel at peace in your spiritual journey. Understanding that alcohol disturbs this sacred equilibrium helps you make conscious choices about what you invite into your energy field. With that insight, you can choose to preserve harmony, safeguard your spiritual alignment, and nurture the bridge between your earthly existence and divine essence. In countless spiritual traditions across time and geography, voices of great teachers and revered texts have raised a consistent cautionary note about the use of intoxicants. Consider the Buddha, who charted a path to liberation grounded in mindfulness, clarity, and compassion. In the 5 precepts, the foundational ethical guidelines for lay practitioners, abstaining from intoxicants holds a crucial place. The reason is not rooted in dogma or Puritanism, but in a deep understanding of the human mind and its vulnerabilities. To the Buddha, the ultimate goal was to see reality as it truly is, free from distortion. Introducing alcohol into your life, he taught, clouds this vision, muddling perception and making it far more challenging to discern truth from illusion. In essence, each sip draws a veil over the eyes of wisdom, leaving you more susceptible to confusion, harmful impulses, and suffering. Turn next to the sacred text of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most revered scriptures in the Hindu tradition. Within its verses, the path of righteousness, known as Dharma, and the pursuit of self-realization are intricately woven together. The Gita emphasizes purity of mind, disciplined action, and awareness of one's higher calling. While it may not dedicate pages upon pages explicitly to the dangers of alcohol, the message is clear when we consider its overall guidance. Any substance that disrupts mental clarity, weakens resolve, and fosters dependency moves the seeker further from the state of equilibrium and transcendence that the Gita champions. It is akin to pouring ink into pure water. No matter how subtle the addition, the clarity you once cherished grows murky. You'll find similar counsel repeated across many spiritual landscapes. In the Zen tradition of Buddhism, the samurai code of Bushido, certain Sufi teachings, and within indigenous cultures worldwide, intoxicants are often approached with solemn respect or avoided entirely, because they compromise the very qualities of consciousness that spiritual traditions aim to cultivate. Whether it's the stillness prized by meditators or the heartfelt devotion of a devotee praying at dawn, alcohol's intrusion erodes these spiritual treasures. Such warnings aren't merely historical curiosities, they're timeless guidance. They reflect an understanding that the journey inward demands clear sight and steady footing. When you heed these cautions, you preserve the conditions necessary for true growth. Instead of losing yourself in an altered haze, you remain free to cultivate insight, compassion, and alignment with a higher purpose. From the words of enlightened masters and revered scriptures, the message echoes through the ages. Guard your mind's sanctuary. Protect it from anything that blurs your vision or dilutes your inner strength. In doing so, you honor both yourself and the tradition that shines a lamp along your path. Centuries after sages and scriptures warned us about the subtle but profound impact of alcohol, modern science has arrived at remarkably similar conclusions, albeit through a different lens. Instead of relying on spiritual metaphors or moral guidance, today's neuroscience peers directly into the human brain, mapping pathways of thought, emotion, and choice. What it finds, time and again, is that alcohol interferes with the very neurological functions that enable us to make conscious, wise decisions and to reflect deeply on our lives. Consider that the human brain's prefrontal cortex is often hailed as the seat of higher reasoning and executive control. It's the part of you that sets long-term goals, resists harmful impulses, and holds a vision of who you aspire to be. When you reach for a drink, alcohol doesn't only relax your body, it also begins to whisper subtle messages to this vital command center, gently lowering its guard. The result is a reduction in inhibition and discernment. This is why, under the influence, people find themselves engaging in actions they'd never consider while sober, as if the inner gatekeeper of wisdom had drifted off to sleep. Neuroscience also shines a light on the brain's reward circuits, the pleasure pathways that respond to stimuli like good food, laughter, and meaningful achievements. Alcohol hijacks these pathways, providing a quick but empty surge of gratification. It lures you into trading authenticity and long-term fulfillment for fleeting moments of euphoria. Much like the ancient warnings suggested, you're left chasing surface-level experiences rather than striving for genuine self-discovery or moral integrity. Even more telling is what science reveals about introspection. True spiritual growth often springs from stillness, from the ability to turn inward and honestly confront your fears, your hopes, and your deepest truths. Yet alcohol's neurological disruption puts you at odds with this sacred inward journey. It fragments your ability to maintain that calm, reflective space where meaningful insights emerge. Instead, your thoughts become scattered, your emotional landscape turbulent, and your ability to truly understand yourself diminished. This mirrors the teachings of countless spiritual traditions, which recognize that any substance clouding the mind ultimately hinders your spiritual evolution. But science goes a step further, showing the tangible mechanisms by which this occurs. Brain imaging studies, for example, reveal reduced activity in areas associated with self-awareness and emotional regulation when alcohol is present. In essence, you lose touch with the very faculties that guide you toward genuine growth and understanding. When you put ancient wisdom and modern science side by side, a pattern emerges. Both warn that alcohol is more than just a harmless indulgence. It hampers your capacity for deliberate choice, clouds your inner vision, and makes it all the more difficult to align with your purpose. To know this is to gain power. With knowledge, you can decide whether to allow this potent chemical to steer your thoughts and actions, or whether you'll claim the clarity and courage required to remain the conscious architect of your destiny. The story of alcohol in human life isn't one of irreversible damage or eternal loss of spiritual direction. Rather, it's a tale of choice, resilience, and the profound capacity for healing and redemption that dwells within each of us. If alcohol can disrupt the connection between body and soul, it's also true that intentional practices can mend that very link. Think of it like tending to a delicate garden after a storm. The winds may have broken some branches and scattered leaves everywhere, but with time, care, and the right tools, the garden can be restored to vibrant health. Meditation is often the first and most powerful step in this restoration process. By sitting quietly, focusing on the breath, and observing your thoughts without judgment, you learn to still the mind. If alcohol scatters your inner world, meditation gathers it back together, piece by piece. Slowly but surely, this practice helps rebuild the aura and fortify the subtle boundaries that keep negative influences at bay. Within the silence of meditation, you find your center of gravity, the calm eye within the storm. It's from this still point that you can begin the work of healing, releasing old patterns, and moving closer to your higher self. Reiki, a gentle form of energy healing, offers another powerful tool. Picture a stream of pure light, flowing through you and washing away the residue of chaos left behind by repeated indulgence. As a Reiki practitioner channels this universal life force energy, you can almost sense the fractures in your aura being sealed, the dull spots regaining their luster. Over time, this energetic support rewires your subtle body, helping to realign chakras and restore harmony between the earthly root and the heavenly crown. You begin to feel more anchored, yet also more expansive, as if both your feet are firmly on the ground while your spirit rests lightly among the stars. Gratitude is yet another potent medicine. By consciously appreciating what you have, your health, your loved ones, your capacity to learn and grow, you shift your vibration. Gratitude lifts you out of the mindset that seeks escape in external substances and anchors you in a mindset of abundance and sufficiency. Instead of reaching for a drink to fill a perceived emptiness, you recognize the fullness that already exists within you. Over time, cultivating gratitude can rewire not just your daily habits, but also your entire approach to life, allowing the seeds of spiritual awakening to sprout where once there was only confusion. This healing journey is not always linear. There may be setbacks, moments when the old temptations resurface, when the aura trembles once again. But with each small victory, each minute spent in meditation, each Reiki session that gently soothes the energy body, each expression of heartfelt gratitude, you reaffirm your innate ability to reclaim your spiritual inheritance. Alcohol need not define you or dictate the terms of your evolution. Instead, it becomes a lesson and a teacher, showing you the contrast between a life lived in alignment and one lived in dissonance. In these practices of healing and redemption, you discover that the true power always lay within you. You are not a passive recipient of fate, but a co-creator of your destiny. By actively choosing to restore your spiritual integrity, you honor the divine spark that has always glowed in your core. Through meditation, Reiki, and gratitude, you weave together the threads of your fractured tapestry, crafting a life rooted in clarity, strength, and soulful harmony. We've journeyed across millennia to understand alcohol's unusual role in human life. We've seen and honored in ancient temples, examined its linguistic roots in alchemy, and recognized how it can act as a subtle predator upon both body and soul. From the sages of old to the neuroscientists of today, the message has been consistent: alcohol distorts perception, weakens spiritual defenses, and strains our most cherished channels of divine connection. Yet our story doesn't end there. The very fact that our energy fields can be thrown off balance means they can also be brought back into alignment. Where alcohol creates fissures, spiritual practices can mend them. Where it dims your guiding star, conscious effort can rekindle that inner light. Now that you know the truth, you hold the power to choose. You can continue unwittingly inviting this subtle saboteur into your temple, or you can take deliberate steps to restore clarity and connection. Reflect on what you've learned, then empower yourself with action. Consider healing modalities and mindful practices to restore your aura's brilliance. Strengthen your chakras, nurture your mind, and honor your soul's whispered guidance. In doing so, you transform from a passive participant in life's dramas into an active co-creator of your destiny. If what you've discovered today resonates with you, share this message so it can uplift others. Subscribe for more transformative insights, and keep exploring the landscapes of your mind, body, and spirit. As you stand at this crossroads, remember that your choices shape your reality. Choose wisely, choose with love, and choose in alignment with who you truly are. Let this affirmation guide you: I honor my divine essence, and I walk forward in clarity, strength, and the truth of my highest self.